how to replace the front brake pads and rotors on your Chevy Impala. I am Stephen Wimberley, and this is Working with Wimberley. The first step is to remove the two 14mm bolts from the caliper with the 14mm socket and ratchet. So with the caliper off and sitting on top of the dust shield, the next step is to remove the caliper bracket. And to do that, I'll need to remove the two caliper bracket bolts. So one at the top here and one at the bottom. And I'm going to do that with a 13/16 socket and a breaker bar to loosen it. Then I'm going to use my socket and ratchet to remove it the rest of the way. With the two caliper bracket bolts out, we can remove the caliper bracket. So with the caliper out of the way and the bracket off, the next step is to remove the brake rotor, and we have to remove the T27 screw first before we can get it off. So I'm going to do that now. With the screw out, we should be able to remove the rotor. You may need to tap it with a hammer to get it off. Before I put everything together, the next thing that I'm going to do is take the brake caliper with one of the old brake pads, and I'm going to use a C-clamp to push the piston back into the caliper. And we can start putting everything back together. So the next step is to install the brake rotor and the screw. Thread the screw by hand first. Then use the socket and ratchet to tighten it. Reinstall the caliper bracket with the 13/16 bolts and tighten by hand. Tighten the bolts with a 13/16 socket and ratchet. With the caliper bracket bolted down, now we can install the brake pads. And the brake pad with the wear indicator is going to go on the piston side. With the brake pads installed, I'm just going to put a little caliper grease on the back of the pads to prevent squeaking. Now we can reinstall the caliper. And thread in the 14mm bolts by hand. Tighten the bolts with the 14mm socket and ratchet. Make sure to pump the brakes before driving. And this job is done. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment. God bless you all.